You said. I grabbed it.
Oh, that's,
You're ready. It's all ready.
That's Fred? No, it's,
This is
Mark, hello there.
Hey, Mark,
Mark.
you're muted. You are muted.
Oh, good evening, everyone.
Oh, okay. We are ready to go. We have a quorum. And I see Mr. Owen is on the phone from Spain. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, my Lord.
How are you, Owen?
I'm here.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard over here, but I'm managing okay.
We all hate you here.
Hey,
Not
no,
all.
we don't use that word.
What do you, what is the word? What's the?
And
Look at him, he's even
Oh, yeah.
tan. He's even tan. I can't stand it.
Oh.
And Dory's gonna try to be on the line in a bit. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I don't say often enough how much I appreciate everybody on the committee and everybody on the Zoom. And Mark, who is our new and wonderful representative of Steve Blatt Architects. And Cressica's here, and Christine, and Cressica has been really helpful in sorting through some things for the buildings and the energy, so we're really lucky to have you. And thank you, Carrie, again and again for driving the internet stuff. Tonight she's taking minutes because Jennifer's at another meeting. I'm really not happy about that. I think she's sipping wine somewhere.
And for updating the website.
And for updating the website, yes.
Still
thank you
in
very much.
process, yep.
Okay, so enough of that. The agenda tonight, so I'm going to stall a bit until Dory gets on the line when we get to the healthcare stuff, but we have a few things to do between now and then, so let's start with, we do have a quorum. I would like to see if we can get a motion to approve the minutes of May 24th. Do I have anybody who wants to? So moved by Pete and second by Garrett. Is there any discussion? It's just us in the corner here. I don't think there's any discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. And then we have updates on the Up Island Public Safety Garage, and Pete, you can start us off and maybe Mark will have something to add. Proceed.
So as you all know that we've changed where the fire barn will be going because of some site issues. So we'll be trying to use the existing junkyard road for the entrance and exit of the fire barn. And this site plan that I just handed out shows the fire barn, and Mark has done an overlay of the pile of boulders that are up there that pretty much encompass the whole fire barn. So we're hoping that we can move the building, just the width of the building to the east, and that'll be sufficient. And then Lauren and I went to the planning board meeting, was it last Monday? And to get advice as to how to proceed with the changes to our site plan. And they felt that they did not need to have a new application, so that's a good thing. They do want us to have a new site plan, have it all staked, and they want to have a site visit, and they will put the amended site plan into the permit. So that's a good thing. Anything you want to add, Mark?
Not really, other than we are gonna look at relocating the building to try to keep or work around, I should say, the existing boulder pile. Gartley and Dorsey is going to be on site doing survey work next week, in which we'll locate that boulder pile more exactly. And we can play around with moving the building a little bit and see if we can rearrange the access drive and the vehicle apparatus drive in, drive out procedure.
Right.
That's about all.
Hopefully we can get that done before July 7th, when Summit will be doing their test pits on that site.
Yes. Yeah. We are going through a excavation process to do test pits, and that is to look at how deep, make sure we don't encounter any ledge or other objects when we excavate for foundations. So that's we also get a geotechnical report when we have that done, and they establish bearing capacity for the soil in which we design the foundations and footings for. So
Yep.
Are there any questions?
Sounds good.
Great, thank you, Pete, Mark, that's great. Thank you, Dory, I'm glad you
Just
were.
one thing, the people who live, the Hools and the Berries, everybody's that knows all of this, yeah.
Did you send out?
No, I was told to wait until, I have not sent that letter yet because was a reason why I can go get that folder, but I did not send
Could be,
anything.
Probably
certainly,
ought to do that fairly soon.
yeah, certainly,
I think
Dorothy,
we were waiting for a finalized plan,
yeah.
because that other plan did not show the rocks on it.
Yep. Yes.
So this is a change
Yep.
since then, so it's just as well, we didn't send them the
That's a
first one.
good reminder, thank you very much, we should send that out right away.
Yeah,
But that was smart to wait until we get a final plan. All right, are any other questions about this? Feels like steadily moving towards getting that all sorted, and meanwhile, they're also working at the interior, the electronics, so I want to say the energy system for the Up Island Public Safety Garage, and Cressica's been talking with Mark and we'll be talking with some of the engineers to get that all sorted, but that looks like it's shaping up too. Really, really pleased about all the progress. Okay, I'm really happy, Dory, you were able to make it. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
You're muted.
Yes, yes. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Let's start on the next topic.
Can you?
The critical care group. My understanding, and I'm going to turn to Dory first and Mark, and then if Owen has any added comments. My understanding of the critical care room is that you're closing in on making a decision about that. I don't think the committee needs to approve that or anything. Is that correct, Dory? That's something internal to the health center.
Yes, we had our last meeting yesterday or Tuesday. Yeah, I guess it was yesterday. For a long day. And we refined just a couple of details, but Mark has a really good feel and the drawings look excellent. And we're really pleased with the work that we did. We spent several hours a few weeks ago with Owen and Odessa and Dr. Rob, and just started from scratch, and we all worked together to really design what we feel is a very functional critical care room, and it's also going to be equipped to be an isolation room for somebody with communicable disease such as COVID. So it's just going to be fabulous as far as I'm concerned.
Mark, you want to add anything?
No, it was as pleasure working with all the doctors to get input from them and how they currently use the non-performing critical care and how things we can change to include in our new design. We took a first pass at laying out the room, which we, as Dory mentioned, reviewed yesterday, and we had some good input from them, and we've actually updated the plans. We will shortly forward new images and plans for review, and we can react from there. But from that point, I anticipate that we can proceed with our contract documents shortly. So we're excited and feel good about progress on that space.
And I'm going to turn to the board as well, but I don't think that the municipal building committee needs to approve their internal design of their critical care unit. Do you?
No, not necessarily.
Darren? Yeah. Okay. And I want to ask,
But we will have to sign off on the whole plan before it goes forward. But
Okay.
that's-
did you hear that, Mark? Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and Christine or Owen, do you have anything to add in terms of the critical care room?
No, I think it's a good space, and the last little tweaks we did made it even better.
We can see your finger, Owen. Do you have anything to add in terms of that?
It's not.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I wish I could read lips.
We can't read your lips.
For some reason, you're still muted.
There we go. I'm sorry, I couldn't get my, my space bar to pop up, but no, I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next item is the dental room, and there is a lot of discussion on this. It's kind of hard to even think about where to begin. I did get something from Judy Smith as a starting point, and that is that currently, and this is not at all about how we might expand use for the purposes of either serving dental patients or using a dental chair for multi-purposes. But just as a baseline, what we have now is that 18 students annually, with the exception of this year, visit Dr. O, who comes to the ICC with 4 assistants. So 18 students go through in one day and are given dental care in the fall. And then Dr. O and his assistants come again in the spring, and another 18 go through. So that's currently what's going on. And this is funded by the ICF, and apparently has been going on for a while, hasn't it, Owen?
It started just before COVID. Can you hear me?
Space that but at least 2 are, how often would we use it for, if we had a permanent dental facility? In other words, we didn't have a portable unit, we had a permanent dental chair and other equipment that would be appropriate for a dental room. How much would that room be used for dental purposes? And how expensive would that be? And does the usage justify the expense? Or can we find another alternative which allows us to do future dental work in that space, maybe use that dental chair for other purposes, but somehow make them flexible enough that we can either remove the dental chair or use it sufficiently to make it make sense to do that. I'm going to start with Mark, because Mark has done quite a bit of detailed examination, talking with Dory and Owen and others. And if you walk us through a couple of pieces of this, that'd be really helpful, Mark.
Okay. I'll do my best. You broke up a little bit in the beginning of your statement, Lauren, but um, I have been doing a lot of research on this, speaking with Owen, speaking with equipment suppliers for dental equipment, speaking with Dr. O, who currently provides the service to the island, and get a better idea of how they operate, the logistics of what he and his staff go through to provide care. Lauren mentioned, I believe he comes once or twice a year, and they serve approximately 18 people in one day. And currently they shuttle everything over in terms of their equipment, including foldable, portable dental chair, portable suction device and vacuum, portable X-ray handheld machine. And as you can imagine, that it takes up a lot of their staff energy, and they have to bring it on the ferry and then bring it over to the community center. So what we did after getting a better idea of how they function currently is transpose some of those practices and see how that might work in our building, in this healthcare building. And as you can imagine, there are varying levels of in strategy you can implement as to what level of care they will provide, how much equipment needs to be purchased, how much equipment building infrastructure do we need to build in or should build in into this space, and that can vary quite a bit on varying levels. So I'll call that, just for the sake of presentation and discussion, level A, B, and C, small, medium, and large, if you will. A being an empty space that they can use and that the facility can use for as a multi-purpose room. It would not be tied to any one specific use, but is a flexible space. If, for instance, the healthcare facility would like to use an additional physical physical therapy room, or a temporary space for physical therapy with patients that are outpatient and come in, or maybe chiropractic care, or a dental space to do just general cleanings, and what Dr. O currently does with his staff, they could come in with all of their portable equipment and use that space. We would maybe build in a cabinet and a sink in that scenario, but nothing else. So that's option A. Option B, you could make it more customized towards dental space and still keep it flexible. And by that, that would potentially include a dental chair that is flexible in the sense that it can be folded, but then trolleyed or moved along to the side of the room. There are mobile dental carts that have built-in vacuum suction and water supply that would have to be manually emptied. Being that they come once or twice a year, that's, not ideal, but it's very serviceable. Option B would not require a lot of built-in infrastructure. We could provide a lot of power outlets for that mobile dental cart to be powered. We could include power for lighting for future exam light. There could be some provision for future dental equipment, but with minimal investment. The mobile cart could potentially be used. One thing that we discussed yesterday with Dory is that maybe that cart could be used for the critical care room. It would have suction and removal characteristics and has a mobile unit that could be beneficial in emergency situations for the critical care room. It's not built in. You can move it around and just plug it in the wall and use it in a dual capacity. The third option would be a more permanent installation where more permanent vacuum and suction equipment is built in, which requires a compressor and a vacuum device remotely located and is plumbed into the building systems. The chair would be a full dental chair in the capacity that you think of, non-movable. Exam light would be built in fully into the building structure and powered. X-ray machine could be, mounted on the wall, definitely mobile and flexible to the dental chair, but it's more of a built-in condition. That in that latter scenario, option C, that doesn't offer a lot of flexibility to the healthcare building use, and but would certainly be enticing to doctors, dental doctor and their staff. So everything considered, and knowing our construction budget, knowing that the infrequency of the dental visit and their staff, I think the sweet spot is a kind of a mixture of option A and B, which is to design a space which is most flexible for both dentists and the healthcare staff and use, as well as maybe build in a little bit of infrastructure, for example, additional power for a mobile unit or future light or future X-ray. Those are pretty easy to do without spending a lot of money, but give you a little bit of flexibility down the road should a full dental occupancy want to be implemented. In that scenario, I think you'd have the most flexibility with minimal initial construction cost, and that would be our recommendation.
Dory, let me just turn to you first and then Owen, if I could.
I guess I would agree with Mark, but I would have to say I don't feel like I am the best judge of the need on the island. I have not been involved in the dental care or the dental program. I know Owen has. It's unfortunate we don't have the opportunity to really survey the community to see what the needs are. I do know that I do see quite a few patients, both young and older, with significant dental issues. And it is a larger need than we really realize. So I do think it's an important service to offer. I think we've talked about physical therapy. Initially, we were planning that room to be. Can you hear me? They can hear me. Originally, we were planning to have that room to be empty. We spoke with Mark Lewis, and I that room did not serve him quite as well because of the lack of exercise equipment that he uses quite frequently in the gym at the ICC. So I do see, in the future, a room for osteopathic manipulation would be helpful. acupuncture possibly, massage. We do have a counseling room, which may be suitable for a portable table, for acupuncture and osteopathic manipulation, possibly. So I do think it's important to include dental, and that the need is, we are underserving the population on the island now. I understand that the cost is considerable to go for the C option, but I think the B sounds like it's sort of a happy medium.
That's really helpful, Dory, thank you, and yeah, I'm not a medical person at all, but I know enough to know that dental health is really, really important for all aspects of your overall health. So, heart and everything. So now, Owen, would you follow up? I think you have a better sense of what the actual numbers would be if we really had something in place, what you suspect would be the usage beyond what we currently have, because it's only being offered to the students at this point, right?
So, no, not exactly, but yeah, thanks everybody. And thanks a lot, Mark, for all you talked to Dr. O and talking to Dennis, the medical supplier. They're quite knowledgeable. And I feel like the approach for option B is the right one, because, Dr. O, after speaking with him, it sounds like, he is going to be the dentist that's going to be participating, and it's for probably at least another decade. If something happens, he's really down to earth, and was pretty specific about his equipment needs, but also flexible. And I'll come back to that. I guess what I'll say as far as usage, so that number 18 that Judy gave you, that's students. When they come out for a dental clinic for a full day, they see 50 people in the ICC, which is quite a lot. And that doesn't include several. I mean, there's other people that we see who miss the clinic. That's why they come to see us, because they have basically rotten teeth that are hurting, and they missed the clinic, and because they didn't know, or for a lot of different reasons. But so I think, like Dory, haven't done a needs assessment, but it's definitely there. There is a need. Dr. O was pretty specific about the chair, and he mentioned, and he was also sensitive to the idea that it could be a multi-purpose room, in that, the chair that he requested could also be used as a treatment room chair as well. It had enough features on it that we could see patients in the chair. And I have used one of those chairs before at a prior clinic that I worked at, and it's pretty nice. As far as the other equipment, I know, Mark, you probably can speak to it more, but it all sounded very reasonable, and it's not it's all, it's nice stuff, but it's not, I don't know what the word is. It's not the C option, but it is a B option, and it just very reasonable.
Great. Anybody on the committee have any questions or comments? Linda?
Go ahead.
Pete?
So, from my understanding is that when Dr. O comes out, he brings a team of people with him, and they're all doing cleanings and examinations. Is that correct?
That's right. That's how it is now.
I can't hear anybody. Oh, I can hear you now.
The question was, if you're seeing 50 people, you get multiple providers, this room is not gonna fit. It's only 8 foot by 11 foot. It's not gonna fit all these people. Even if you bring them through one at a time, that's gonna take 25 hours if they each get a half an hour.
Yeah, Pete, there are other models for seeing the patients. I mean, you know, if he were to come out on a Friday, it is possible that he would use 2 other of our rooms. They, you know, depending on how they're set up, or possibly he would bring fewer people or send the hygienist out more days. And, you know, whereas, you know, one or 2 people could come out for more days.
Yeah.
But it's you know, asking professionals to load up, and I don't know how sustainable his model is for the long term. And when building a clinic for the long term, providing dental care is a critical component of healthcare for our community.
Mhm.
Linda,
Is the expectation that the Osborne Community Fund will continue to fund this indefinitely?
do you know, the commitment on the part of the ICF for continuing funding?
It's
Owen?
strong. It's strong. Dental care has been a part of ICF since it started back in the 50s, and providing dentures and teeth and dental care has long been it's one of the earliest reasons for the community fund, and I feel confident that that will continue. That particular mission of the community fund will continue.
Think that you would want to, or the committee or the medical staff would want to update them on what the thinking is, so that they are part of
I
this.
think they've been, Owen, is, the ICF involved in, the discussion about the options for that room?
Well, as far as the A, B, and C options, I just heard that from Mark, so not yet, but at the next meeting, we can talk about that.
Just to keep them in the loop, if they've been in the loop for so long and are going to be in the loop in the future, it would be, I think, good to just inform them what the thinking is.
Good point. Yeah. Dara?
Yeah, I think that it's not easy to find dentists, particularly to travel to the island and haul all their stuff. And I think we're pretty lucky to have Dr. O. It sounds like he's willing to continue doing that, but I also think it would be less of a pressure on he and his staff if we had a lot of the equipment or what they needed here, even if it's not the top rate, top of the line stuff, so that they don't have to pack it up, put it in their trucks and vehicles, drive it over here, and then do the same in reverse. That takes a lot of time and wastes a lot of time in some ways. So, I really like the idea of the sort of combined 1 and 2, or maybe 2. It seems to make sense for me, because we know dental care will probably do, but also if it's multifunctional, that just makes it even better. So.
Anybody else, Christine?
Oh, yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot you can do with a dental chair if you're not using it for dental work, okay? In our older care clinic, we had basically what amounted to a dental chair for various ENT procedures that we'd use, sewing up facial laceration, stuff like that. So it's not a chair that's dedicated only to working on teeth. The one we had wasn't as movable as a regular dental chair. One that is actually set up for dentists so that you can tip it way back would be even better. So you could do vertical manipulations, for instance, on that kind of chair. So I think having it as a multi-purpose installation. I am concerned though, X-ray takes specific extra wiring, Mark?
Can you, Christine, hear?
I can
Mark?
speak to that if you would like. I spoke with Dr. O about that at length.
Yeah, and?
And it didn't sound like that would be reasonable for us right now. It's not so much the wiring as it just is the upkeep. And it's just, there's a lot of bureaucracy associated with it. And so we wouldn't be, we could do that in the future, but that wouldn't be something we would need to do right now. The other part of that particular item has a lot to do with, it's all computerized. So you need your own electronic dental health record to manage that system. And we certainly aren't interested in that, but Dr. O already has one of those. So if that wouldn't be part of what we were doing in this initial phase. But I think,
He has a portable
I think
unit.
that, sorry, I'm sorry, I couldn't, this was somebody else talking, I couldn't hear.
He has a portable unit that he can bring in. Is that
Yes,
what it does? Okay.
that's right, that's right. And I mean, if dental became such a big part of the clinic in the future, that'd be something we could explore, you know, years from now, but for now, no. And I think if there were any infrastructure like wiring that needed to be there, that'd be something that Mark and you could talk to him about and make sure that it was in place if needed to be. But
Yeah, I think that putting in the electrical circuit for eventual hookup of X-ray equipment would be part of what you want to do while you're building the building, rather than having to tear it apart and rewire at some later date.
Yeah, that was one of our goals from the beginning, was to make sure that as much of the infrastructure, I'm not sure that's the right term, Mark, but whatever wiring, whatever beams that need to be in place to support lighting, whatever, needs to be ready. Because in part, we're not talking about purchasing these things right away. We're really, really concerned about our costs. So what I'm liking about what Owen's talking about is, and everybody is sort of agreeing, is that we look at a multi-purpose room that has as much of the infrastructure ready for expanding dental equipment in the future, and in the meantime has the minimum required to serve as a multi-purpose room. And at the very least, portable suction with a plug-in to accommodate that, and a portable, if not more than, maybe even a permanent chair if it can be multi-purpose, as long as we really think that that's going to be of use to the clinic, for the next, let's say, 10 years, and we're going to have sufficient use in that style of chair that would work. Otherwise, we're talking about a portable unit, a portable chair that can be put aside and something else brought in. And I leave that to the brilliance of Mark and Dory and Owen to solve. I think you're only looking, Mark, am I understanding you're just looking for this board to make a recommendation? And I think if our minutes can show what Owen is recommending, and it looks like a combination of A and B, and just any way that we can keep the costs down initially, but without negating the possibility of putting things in that are going to be needed in the future. Am I saying things appropriately or adequately, everybody? Anything? Owen, did I miss anything?
no, that sounds great. Thank you, Lauren.
Well, what I can do is, because we were recommending that direction, I can prepare a summary and some cut sheets or some information on and images on what we had in mind, and forward to you, Lauren and Pete, and you can share with the committee, certainly. But I think hearing everything from Dory, Owen, and Judy Smith and the committee's goals, I think that's the right direction. And So I think we don't have to necessarily decide tonight, but we'll definitely, it sounds like that's a good goal to have, and I can forward that information and share, and we can take it from there.
And, Mark, let us know your time frame so that if we need to get a quick meeting together to approve something, if that's what's necessary. If not, the other way we could go is for this committee to give a motion to make that something that Dory and Owen can agree to without the committee's further input. I'm just looking at the board and to see what you think, Pete. I think we should need to bring it back to the committee.
I think I need to see what the cut sheets are first, and we
Okay.
can decide from there if it's something that we feel we need to have further action on before moving forward.
Okay, so that's prudent. I think that's very prudent.
Yeah.
So you heard all
And
that,
I
Mark?
think, yeah, and I think that still gives us time. I think one more round of discussion and then a final approval. But it sounds from a building infrastructure standpoint that we're going the middle of the road with minimal commitment, and that's pretty easy to do later on in the project in terms of our contract documents. And so we have a little bit of latitude in terms of when we'll need that. So I agree with Pete that, we'll have one more round in review of this, and we can take it from there.
Yes, I didn't think to ask you if you had anything to add, since your grant is hopefully going to add.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
For sure.
If everybody remembers that Crescent wrote a grant that has both dental and other medical in the ask.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think unless there are any other comments on dental or anything in the medical, I think we're done with that. Moving on, we're gonna be,
Can I ask?
yes, please.
Not about that, but, I went and grabbed my file on sending that notice to the abutters. And I have a note on it, it says, wait for Gartline Dorsey report on easements. I have not heard
That's what I
anything.
thought we needed to do, and they're right, they don't have that yet.
So, should I have someone talk to them about that? Or should I ask them tomorrow where they are? Or have you heard from anybody?
Bill, he's gone till after the 4th.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
so
it's
wait till
7.
next week maybe
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
talk with somebody?
yeah, Linda, we're waiting for Gartland Dorsey on the
Right.
deeds and
Right,
easement,
that
so,
makes
yeah.
And will we be getting a new plan showing the exact, I want to send that
hope
to
so.
them
Yep.
too,
Yep.
instead of
Yeah.
this with a,
Yep,
okay.
Yeah. We're thinking Gartland Dorsey will have the survey information and the new setbacks and everything by sometime in the next 2 weeks. Mark, is that what we think?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay, next on the agenda is just comments or questions from the community, and I think, unless there's somebody I can't see out there, I think anybody have any questions or comments, Linda?
I have, a query. I would like to, keep the general Islesboro community, and particularly our donors, informed about what's going on. And we have or how things are progressing. We have no system now. We do write articles for the Osborne Island News, but not everybody reads the Osborne Island News. Is it possible to do, say, once a month report on constant contact? I mean, I would be
Sure.
happy to.
That's the
to put
easiest
it
thing to
together.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that would be really good. I'm getting little questions. Well, what's going on?
that is a great question, and it's an opening line for me to say something. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
so yes, and also we do have an upcoming summer information meeting on August 10th, which will include an update on municipal billing. But the thing I wanted to say that I didn't have on the agenda is that H.E. Callahan asked if we would provide them with some possible locations for their workers to live on Islesboro, so that they can work Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday at least, and not have that wait time going back and forth in the ferry. And so I sent them 3 people that had places, possibilities, and I found out today that they've already contacted 2 of them. One of them already has a lease agreement. They're moving quickly, and not only that, but their date now is not October 1, but sometime late September,
Oh,
and going into, even into, the first part of June. So they're moving. The contract manager is really, really jumping on things. So,
that's excellent.
okay, I think we're at next meeting. We don't have a date set, and I'm not going to try and set it now. It's just been too crazy with holidays and everything. But, so I think we're ready to adjourn. Can I have a motion to adjourn? So moved by Linda. We got a second by Pete. All in favor? Yay! Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Mark, Dory, Owen.
Thank you.
And
Good work, Lauren. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
have too much fun in Spain. Gee.
Yeah,
Not too much.
Thanks for taking the time, Owen. And Dory.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Adios.